Hey guys, so today is day 3 of our month with no makeup, and I'm gonna admit today for me was kind of harder. Um, Mostly because, well, not really, mostly because, but I went to my boyfriend's house today, um, and so we wanted to spend the day together, and you know, I got ready and I did my hair and stuff, and I looked in the mirror again today and I felt like I looked so unfinished. Like ew. Is that really all there is today? And I spent that day with him, and it was like every time I looked in the mirror, every time I saw my reflection or a picture of myself or something, like I would just I would be disappointed in the way I looked and like wish that I could be prettier, and like watching the old videos, like our intro video of me with makeup on, I just kept thinking like, wow, I'm so much prettier with makeup. And I don't know why, but like, I don't know, today just seemed harder for me. But I know that eventually that's going to change. And I'm not going to keep seeing myself as not beautiful without makeup. And I mean, it's already sort of improving. Like before I wouldn't even I wouldn't even dare going out of the house without makeup. But I'm slowly realizing that less and less do I need it. I also got into the Word again today, and we read Proverbs 3, and my favorite verse is actually in Proverbs 3, so I like 3, 5, and 6, and I think that it really applies to this because we're really having to give it up to God in this whole situation and just like throw our hands up and be like, okay, I'm opening myself up to something that I might not know the outcome of, and I'm taking a risk and I'm challenging myself, but it's going to be scary. So I think this verse is really fitting. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 is, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. And I think that that is really a true verse, because in this, if we're just seeking God's will in this, and we're seeking that, we're realizing that he created us and it's not for us to change. Like, he made us in a specific way and he didn't mess it up. He didn't say, oh, her eyes should have been darker right here, and she shouldn't have, this little discoloration on her face, so we need to put foundation here and eyeliner here, and her eyelashes are too light, so here you need to put mascara on. But God intended us to look exactly the way we are, and he didn't mess up. And we don't need to fix it with makeup. Sure, makeup is fun to look pretty, and that there's nothing wrong with makeup, but he didn't mess it up. We didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong, and we don't need to correct his mistakes, because he didn't make any mistakes. He's perfect. He's God. So I think in this, it's just, if we depend on God and we're seeking everything that he wants us to be, then he's gonna make this journey maybe not easy, but he's gonna make it pan through for the best in the end. And I think that's a really good verse for us to hold on to for this whole month, because if we remember that, we're just going to lean on him the whole way, and we're not going to lean on ourselves, or we're not doing this alone. Like, he's going to make it good for us. I also found a couple more verses. Let me find it. Here's another one. It's Psalm 118:8. It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in people. And I think this really applies to us, because before, as we're terrified to go outside without makeup, like, we're listening to people. We're listening to everything that they're telling us and everything that they have to say, and we're trusting that their opinions are right. But in reality, if we take refuge in God and we're listening to what he has to say, we're going to find that that's not true. And we're going to find that it goes along with Proverbs 3:5, that if we trust him, he's going to lead us through in the end. And that, you know, it's better to remember God's view on us and see ourselves and see one another through his eyes rather than our own eyes and the opinions of everyone else. Because when you look through your own eyes and through everyone else's eyes, you're going to see this cracked mirror. All you're going to see is flaws. And my best friend told me this, Demi, actually, when I was going through a tough time, is if you look at yourself through your own eyes, you're going to see it through a cracked mirror full of flaws in yourself. But if you look through God's eyes and you realize that you're perfect the way he made you, you're going to see a clean reflection of yourself. There's not going to be any flaws. Yeah, we are definitely not perfect people, but that's why Christ died for us, to forgive us for those things that we're imperfect for. But the fact that he did that for us is the true beauty in all of this. And I said that, I'm sure, in my last video. But all in all, like, through this whole journey, I think that the main thing that we're going to learn, and the main thing that the goal of this whole thing is to see ourselves through God's eyes. And that it doesn't take a bunch of plaster to be beautiful. It doesn't take a bunch of face paint to be beautiful. I know that I found some other verses. I want to see which ones they are. Here we go. This is kind of about confidence and courage. It says, so be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid and do not panic before them. For the Lord your God will personally go ahead of you. He will neither fail you nor abandon you. And I think that this especially is huge for us also, because we're not alone in our journey in this. If we trust him and we be strong and courageous through this, God's going to go before us. And he's going to take all the battle wounds, and we're just going to have a clear path. So, even though I had a tough day, I think I learned that I shouldn't be looking at myself through my own eyes, but through God's eyes. And eventually, I think that I'm going to become more comfortable with myself. And I think by the end of this journey, it might take a slow time. It might take every day a little better, but I think it's going to be a success. And I'm just going to keep praying for myself and for all the other girls doing this with me. Alright, keep watching. Love you guys.